Guys, what is going on? Red Mash here, and welcome back to Cards and Castles, another TV commentary. Now today we do have some matches for you, just to start you off in the June season, see what's going on the ladder, in terms of, different decks, different play styles, all that good stuff. So that, pretty much covering the entire video, let's just jump straight into it. And our first match will be HidanNoAria, I think I pronounced that correctly, versus Severus 40. Now, Hidan starts her turn off very easily with a Lumberjack, of course, not pushing it up aggressively. Severus spawns to Throne of the Emperor, so we can obviously assume Severus is playing some sort of bounce here. Hidan probably rocking maybe a typical undead, we're not quite sure yet. We do know the Unholy Altar has been played, but most decks run that kind of thing. Severus had to pass his second turn, but it allowed Hidan to beef up her board with Banshee and Zombie. Meanwhile, Lumberjack takes a simple hit to the castle, reduces it by 1, no big deal there. But Severus comes out with a Salahar Voyager. That's going to get Grendel out instantly, I assume. Yep, there's the Grendel, which will take a shot at Banshee, and meanwhile, he keeps both of those units on the board, thanks to the Lumberjack's one attack and the insignificant amount of attack that Banshee had. I think I just had a word spur there. But we see Hidan beefing up her board just a little bit more with the armory, giving all those units extra buffs so they can effectively handle these monsters that are coming out. But Karasume is going to take the board now, and I assume this is what Severus' deck is basically about, bouncing different things there. So Hidan's going to establish some sort of some sort of control here by taking out both the Throne of the Emperor and Karasume to mitigate that balance advantage that Severus was looking to get, what I assume. But he just drew another Karasume, which you see positioned on the board there, away from all of Hidan's zombies, so she can't do anything about it, except she does have a Dragon's Fire, which is going to kill off the entire board for Severus. A very good play for Hidan. She establishes quite the control in my opinion. But Severus is going to come back with another Voyager into a Minotaur, which will kill off that buffed zombie, 5/5. And the Salahar trades with another zombie. So establishing some sort of control here. Although I think Hidan's pretty much got this game in the bag there. As you see that trade-off with the Minotaur. The Armory is doing work here, and the Unholy Altar just producing those 3/3 bodies. A very deadly combination. Severus only can respond with a Lumberjack, I think, for now. Minotaur he just drew, though. That could possibly change things up. But Ajira had to be played there. We see a Serpent Witch and Manfish into Severus' hand. I didn't see the cards that went into Hidan's. I was focusing on the pronunciation of the other two. But Nalakir plus Manfish will take out that Swordsman. But honestly, it's not going to affect Hidan too much. He's got a lot of cards. And we see it cracks, so she can continue to throw out these bigger units that Severus is going to have a hard time dealing with. But we'll see what he does. We'll see what he does. Serpent Witch hits the zombie. King Crab positioned not to kill the zombie. Interesting play there. He could have easily done that, but he chose not to for some reason. T-Rex is going to push the King Crab and Kraken back. Salahar Rider and Serpent Witch coming out as well. So pretty much Hidan's got this game locked in the bag here. Very good play for those zombies. And of course Warlock Burns. We obviously see those as being strong cards. Honestly, I'm not surprised as we see a Shadow Slip from Severus. He's going to try and do off, everything he can to hold off this advance, but I don't think it's going to work here, especially with 10 gold and the resources that Hidan has. She can just continue to throw out these cards, and that's going to just end up dominating Severus. Keeper of the Doorway, we see thrown out an example, ×2, make that. But I don't think Bounce is very reliant on Severus' part. Honestly, there are better decks to be running rather than Bounce. Not to say that Bounce isn't, worth a try, but I don't think it's consistent enough because you see here how easy it is to take out in this era of Warlock Burn. Simple Blue Fires and Disintegrates can take out key parts like the Throne, Karasume. I mean, they can't stop the spell, sure, but by that point, I mean, regardless of what they're pushing on you, it may not be smart to bounce at that time anyway. So, I mean, it was a good attempt by Severus, but ultimately, the bounce is going to, not work out. We see Vanish and Vanishing Strike in his hand. A last attempt to save off his board here, multi-strike on a Minotaur. He's going to Vanish Strike that, actually, so he's going to kill... Okay, he kills one of the keepers, but yeah, it's not going to work out for Severus. As our first game of TV commentary goes to HidanNoAria, I think that's, again, if I pronounce that wrong, I apologize, but she will ultimately take the victory here in a very well played first match. Like I already said, Bounce, I don't think it's reliable enough to effectively rank it on the ladder, especially in the competition of play that Cerberus was in. There are, of course, better options, and with how, like I said, inconsistent and maybe unreliable it is, it just doesn't seem worth running it. And you guys know I've tried Bounce Kraken. Even that one, when I was doing it on the hidden combos, I'll tell you right now, it was a little shaky doing. Um, Mainly because there were so many different points where it's like, can I bounce? No, I'm going to lose board presence. Can I bounce now? So it's hard to find the right opportunity to bounce. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to do, and it is effective if bounce is done correctly. But it's very difficult to find that moment, and that makes the decks, again, inconsistent. But overall, a great first match to start off this episode of TV commentary. So let's jump into match number 2 and see what's in store. This should be a good one now. Oziek versus Benny Sin. Both, of course, high-level players here. Each kind of running a pretty competitive deck. Obviously, Oziek green-yellow, while Benny's rocking the red-yellow. So it's bound to be a good match as Benny starts off the game by throwing a Silent City Guard out, which will prompt Oziek to respond with a Southport Captain. So the simple openings for both of these decks, or what you would see from these decks normally, no big surprise there. Benny, unfortunately, his hand, though, is getting pretty stacked up with these late drops here, as Oziek does a simple Reinforce and Divine Knowledge with the goal advantage he has, just to get himself, more resources for later. As Benny uses a Scout to probably reinforce his board again, the late draw he's got in his hand, Tyrannosaur Cracks, is not going to help him at this phase. But we'll see if he can, beat down Oziek enough, maybe. We'll see. As Oziek summons a Flux, I didn't really read on the spells, but we'll probably see those later. As Benny's got a clear opening to the castle, he'll take it knowing that he may not be able to get these chances every so often. As he pushes another Scout really off to the side here in an odd position, you see he's just chilling right here. Con Artist, though, from Oziek, a great play to gain some gold. Swift Justice on his Flux. It's still going to die, unfortunately. I honestly didn't really need to see, or I didn't see any, well, I guess of the resources he's got, we see Icon thrown on Southport to finish the Scout. That's an interesting about, dangerous thing about Flux. The resource build-up. You see all these cards Oziek has. He's got to use them so he doesn't fill up his hand with things that he can't really use. As we see a House of Daggers plus Pillage combination on Benny and a Dragon Lore times 2, actually. So we could be seeing a turn 7 Dremoth. We never know. Although a Blaze from Benny will take out the Con Artist, weaken the House of Daggers, and deal damage to Castle, and a Forbidden City play to sort of reinforce his hand, get some resources as he loses the other Tyrannosaur, though, from his hand. Oziek, I assume we might see a Dremoth at this point. Nope, that's a Lore Master. Maybe he doesn't have Dremoth, but of course those Dragon Lores do carry over. Whenever you play your next dragon, that's when the reduction will happen. So I don't think it matters whether or not he plays it now or later. But he did play a School of Knowledge, which is probably on Benny's mind to eliminate, so he'll push a ton of cheap units. You see Barbarian, Salahar Voyager going in as an example, plus 2 Lumberjacks, which obviously are going to be good for cycling. But we see Taria start to do work here. He takes out one of the he takes out the Rider, and the Cracks will follow up to kill off the Barbarian and allow even more resources to go into Oziek's hands. So we see that this is really just a standard greed deck, or I'm not sure if it's that standard. We do see some dragon elements into the mix here, obviously with Dragon Lore and what I potentially think is Dremoth. But we'll see what happens as Benny blazes Oziek's School, I sort of lost my train of thought there. And Inspire will get him some additional Guardians to use later. But he is pushing quite the T-Rex on face. I don't think it's going to last, though. There's the Dremoth, of course, at 6 gold due to the double Dragon Lore reduction. And Dremoth is a powerful, powerful unit. If you guys haven't really seen my Big Boss video, or the Big Bad Bosses deck video, I recommend you do so. It highlights just how powerful Dremoth is and how much of a game changer he is. As Benny kind of does what he can to hold off this attack here. Honestly, I don't think it's going to go well for him, but we'll see. Oziek's got a ton of resources here. His gold count is high. His card count is high. I mean, don't get me wrong, Benny's is probably going to get some additional cards, but there's a Dremoth for the full price. For a whole turn, and now Oziek's up to 21 from 7 on his castle. So it further highlights just how powerful Dremoth is. Benny's going to try and do everything he can here, I imagine. Salahar Rider, We'll hit Dry Moth. Where is it? Okay, so his damage is going to hit, so he's 9-6. Headless has got a hit on Dry Moth. Hits Craxus. Okay, not bad. Chaotic Storm, where's that going to hit? 2 on Dremoth, so a 9-4. Yeah, I mean, I assume right now all Benny's really concerned about is pushing Dremoth, or keeping it away, really. Battering Ram. Okay, so that was one of the Flux cards, I think. That'll mean 11 damage on Benny's castle. So that brings him down to 7. Although Benny is running Crusaders, I won't be surprised if there's a heal in store. But we see a combination of treasure cards at the end there, so he'll get 14 gold next turn. Benny plays a 1 costing Forbidden City. Get him some more resources. He needs something to really protect him here. Hassan City Guards will just finish off Drymoth, so he'll get some pressure off his board. And of course, push some other cheap units, I imagine. Scout, Salahar Rider, we see there, Guardian as well. So he's really pushing all, he's kind of just forming a wall. Not actually advancing, because I think he's worried for another Arbiter's return here. But we see Oziek doesn't really need to do that. He's pushing, a Craxus, a Flux, reinforces his gold count again for next turn with another Dragon's Horde. As this game's going into sudden death now, I'm not sure how long Benny's really going to survive here. He pushes a Craxus though to defend, so that is a good sign that he's still somewhat kicking. But we are in double draw here, so that's going to mean a better game for Oziek, getting all of those resources. We see additional Flux spells as well. Not too concerned about those Flux spells, though. I don't really think you need to be. But he's going to throw out a bunch of buildings, which I assume he might Dwarven Construction, because I did see that card go into his hand. He'll Forbidden Scroll his Craxus back to his hand, and yet another Dragon Sword, plus Mugging, so now he's got 14 gold for next turn. Make that 16 thanks to the Southport Captain that he just threw out. So yeah, Oziek's really pushing this, greed deck hard, and it might pay off. Benny does come out with a Disintegrate, plus Headless Horseman, which hits the School of Knowledge. Okay, that was good for him. He needed that. Forbidden City again. Additional draw. He does draw the Arbiter's Return. That's good. He's going to have to play that next turn to stay in this match. As he loses the defective Flame Cannon, I think that was from the discard of Forbidden City. But Benny needs to hope that Oziek can't play anything that's going to damage his castle directly this turn. And that way he can use the Arbiter's Return safely on his next. School of Knowledge, Divine Knowledge, Merchant's Estate again. Dwarven Construction to reinforce all those buildings. So yeah, Benny's really looking like he's in trouble here. This is a long game too, but one that I find interesting because it just shows how far both of these decks can really go in a scenario like this. You see neither of them is backing down, and they both have the resources to keep going in the matchup. Let me check the decks real quick because we can see those. So Benny's got 12. Oziek's probably down. Okay, so he's down to 16. I thought he would be less, to be honest, but I think he might get less now that he's got this School of Knowledge draw. Plus another Dramoth, so I think that's his third. So if Benny does kill this, he can kill out the Dramoth heals. Although I'm not sure if he's going to do it. Flamestorm deals damage to everything, so he's going to get some draw from his own Taria's files. And I know there's a lot happening in this match. I'm trying to do my best to try to tell you guys what's happening, where it's happening. But again, a lot is happening. And it's all just for survival purposes. I mean, you really see both sides isn't really advancing too much based on Oziek's positioning and, of course, Benny's. Mugging, it's kind of just straightforward. Who can outlast each other, which, again, is always really cool to see in a match like this. It kind of shows you just how far matches can go, like I mentioned, and how intense they can get. Okay, so that's going to be a smart swordsman play there. That'll get rushed all the way back. Chaotic Storm hits a couple things there. Okay, Lumberjack and Merchant's Estate go down. We'll see if Oziek can or has to activate the swordsman. I don't think he's going to, but we'll see. Tarius, of course, hits for face. Reinforce on the castle. Again, a lot going on. Dread Pirate's going to take him out, so it's going to be 4 damage on the castle. I'm surprised he didn't move the Tarius out of the way. Dremoth hits. Lumberjack kills itself for some draw. Fair enough. Craxus is moving up. That Craxus is untouched, so that could become dangerous. As Oziek's going to get plus 10, plus 11, so he'll have 21 gold next turn. That's impressive. Impressive stuff. Another Arbiter's Return is going to be big for Benny. He's got to play that now. He does. What'll it hit, though, is the question. It'll hit face at this point, so I assume he's going to try and I'm assuming. I guess he wants to really take out the castle. I mean, he's got, I think, the burn to do so in his opinion. Defective flame cannon, blaze is 5. So really, if he kind of holds out on this next turn, he can win it, which will be, a testament to Benny for sure. A reinforce though might cut that short. Actually, ooh. Let's see here. Frost strike. Oh yeah, the mugging's gonna hurt. 6 on face. Kill there. Plus 18 gold. Another Crassus comes out. So yeah, Oziek's really pushing all that he can now. I don't think he's got a lot of heals left, so he knows he's in a position, where he just needs to throw everything he's got at him. But I think, is it over? I don't think it is. Headless Horseman's got to hit the castle, which it doesn't. Blaze hits face. Defective flame cannon's also going to hit face, but it's not going to do a whole lot. So the reinforce did save Oziek, and ultimately gave him the win. If he didn't reinforce at that moment, then the burn would have gotten him. But I have to say that was a great match for sure. Really, a really good match. Just one 10-minute match there, which is quite longer for what you see on Cars TV commentary. But I did really want to highlight that match. Even though I did lose, pretty much halfway through that match, I kind of just lost my direct casting there. It was still just, again, a testament to see how far both of those decks can go and why those are probably the two most competitive colors you can go right now. Pirate Crusader and Warlock Crusader. Obviously, both of them use Crusaders for those heals and draws, very important things in a game like this. And then it's really your choice between Greed, a lot of gold to use on one turn, like Oziek did, plus those resources we saw a lot, coming into his hand, or the Warlock, which is, of course, where the burn lies. Cards like Defective Flame Cannon, Blue Fire, all of that good stuff. So, yeah, again, great match. Hopefully you guys agree too. But that being said, let's see if we can get one more match in, and let's see what it can deliver to us on this episode of TV commentary. Alright, so this one should be a fun one. Thorne versus, or Thorne, I'm gonna call him Thorne for now, versus Psychosis. Both interesting colors that we don't normally see in competitive play like this. Green white versus blue red. It should be interesting as we see them both kind of throw out what they've got in the early stages. I think actually Psychosis might have an advantage here, as he sort of pushes a flame-shielded Salahar Rider, which will instantly be countered by a Witch Doctor as Thorne just draws it, so pretty good for him there. The last roll of Rider hits the Rat Hovel, but it's an interesting choice of colors that both these two guys are running. Again, not what you would normally see here. As Warrior takes out both the Rat and Witch Doctor, Psychosis will advance some Hassan City Guards up. So obviously I can pretty much tell Psychosis is running an aggro deck. He just wants to get to the castle as fast as he can. And with throwing down, all these spawners, it may not work out for him too much. That altar placement was a little odd, as it took damage from the Warrior's Thunderstrike. Drain life, very good card for again, aggro deck. You need that to keep your guys alive and deal damage both at the same time. Throne's going to be in a little bit of trouble here, but he'll throw out an Armory to protect his altar, plus a Lumberjack to kill off that topmost Hassan City Guard, getting himself some draw. The Beastmaster is going to be a good card for him to use, but he has to be careful due to the Warlock burn, obviously, as he positions his Hassan City Guards in a somewhat, aggressive position, blocking for the Keeper of the Doorway there. Beastmaster comes out and in comes a Wolf and Bear Hog. Bear Hog will take position right in front of the castle there, blocking the Keeper of the Doorway. Again, doesn't want him to get any sort of undead units into his hand. Although a Drain Life will allow Keeper of the Doorway to pretty much survive and take out that Bear Hog. So, it looks like this aggro deck is partly working on Psychosis' part, although now Throne's starting to really get into the whole armory aspect of his deck, I assume. Like I said, I've been kind of telling people throughout this expansion, stat buffs are the key. It's really what tips games in people's favors here. So running armories like this, very important. Psychosis plays a battle ready to kill off the Beastmaster, which leaves Thorne with 2 4/4 zombies, now 3 thanks to his altar. And he has the chance to really push hard here on Psychosis. He's only got 4 cards in his hand, which may not help him against a 6/7 Mordok, plus additional 4/4 zombies running around. As he throws out a Shaman, Hoping to get some draw here. He'll throw out 2, make that 2 actually, excuse me. Will he devote them to 1 zombie? Alright, so he will. So unfortunately it's going to be, okay. Alright, well, that was actually quicker than I expected. But we see really aggro decks are, I mean, they're not bad. I think Psychosis was just trying to push as hard as he could, but in a deck like Thorne, or with a deck like Thorne, as soon as you like stop pushing even for the slightest moment, it gives them a chance to build up these big token units. We saw like a bunch of 4/4 zombies running down. In addition to whatever else he's got in his hand, we saw the 6/7 Mordok, for example. Just deadly stuff from those colors. Even though I don't think those colors are played too often, it's nice to see them played every once in a while. We see the power of druids. Honestly, druids need more cards for them to be a more viable faction, and I think most people will agree to that. I'm excited to see what is planned in store for them. I think they definitely have some big things going on. It's just a matter of letting the faction grow and develop as a whole. Definitely, probably one of the weaker ones right now, but only really due to a lack of resources, and it's not because of their abilities or whatnot. It's just they need more cards to solidify themselves as a faction. But that's just my opinions. Do tell me what you think about the Druid faction in the comment section below, because they're quite interesting, and overall it was a quite interesting match to see. Beast Smasher get played, and I don't think Centaur was played, but that could have been troublesome. But unfortunately, it wasn't played. With that being said, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Cars TV Commentary. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like on it. Share with your friends. Of course, comment down below your thoughts on today's matches. And if you enjoyed them, again, do tell me in the comment section below. And while you are down there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Help show the channel your support. Help us grow, all by clicking that subscribe button at no additional cost to you. And with that being said, guys, I know it's been a bit of a quick episode, but don't worry, I got some things in store for the June season. I just think pushing a Cars TV commentary at this time was the right move. So with that being said, guys, until next time, stay gaming.